Hello and welcome to Artist Magic. I'm your host, Megan Kuhar. Today's going to be a little bit of a different episode. I normally script things just because I'm very kind of all over the place, but I'm going to try something different today and I'm going to just sort of talk from the heart. And I have a list of things I want to hit, but I'm just going to kind of talk from the heart. So, the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I am going to share some stuff about myself that I've never really shared um, uh, pretty much ever in my business because I feel like it's time for me to share it. And also, I think, for me to be sort of open and vulnerable, it helps to kind of encourage the same from you all. So, um, today I'm going to talk about my anxiety. And I it started like when I was a kid. I didn't know that, but there are some things about my childhood that I'm still sort of not sure were anxiety or not. A couple of instances of where I was on medication and like for a different thing, and the medication reacted weird in me, but I almost kind of wonder if it was just anxiety attacks that was happening, unrelated to the medication. Um, and just I remember feeling like every morning waking up for school and just feeling nauseous and sick and like didn't I just wanted to always stay home in certain times of my life, not every year, but there were we moved a lot when I was a kid, and so when I was up until through 6th grade, I lived in a city where I had friends, but I wasn't like super tight in a circle with people, and I was made fun of a lot. And I had quite a few bullies, like boys and girls, and um I had some good friends, but you know, I don't think I really felt like totally free at school to be myself. And so I never wanted to go. So I remember feeling like nauseous and um, sick. And now I know that that's anxiety too. When I moved in 7th grade, or right before 7th grade, we moved to a different state, and I made my best friends, like a group of like three or four of us that were like totally tight. We were such good friends. They were so much fun, and I loved it. I loved school, seventh, eighth, and ninth grade. We were still kind of like outcasts, but we were outcasts together, and it was a lot of fun. But then I had to move again back to Ohio, where I am now. And that was after ninth grade. So I had to leave my friends. And 10th grade was really hard. I was depressed. I was not doing well. I spent all of class time crying. Like, I remember a couple of times the projector being on and like kind of being in a dark classroom in the back row, just writing a letter to my friend and crying by myself quietly. And it was just awful. It was not a good time for me. And so I turned to music. That's when I started really focusing on writing songs, and I've been doing that since like 7th grade, but I did it every day. I went home, I would go in my room and play guitar and just really put all of my thoughts and feelings into my music. And I just think that my time in high school was really centered around not ever really feeling like I was where I was supposed to be. So that probably exacerbated a lot of my anxiety. Um, I went to college after that. I had a good time in college. I liked college. But there was a few really harmful like relationships or like exchanges with boys that happened in um college that were not healthy and good. And so that caused more downfall for me. Um it was hard because I remember like, growing up in a Catholic family and just knowing that like I couldn't talk about everything with my parents because it was very, modest, and we didn't talk about things that weren't allowed. And so I kept a lot in, and a lot of it was really harmful and painful. And so when I was getting older, until I was about maybe 25, 26, really struggling with jobs, not being able to find like work that I wanted, working like three jobs at once. I was like a sound technician, I was an adjunct faculty member, I was another sound technician for another place, and I at one point was also like working at Giant Eagle grocery store again, like which was like my high school job. And so um oh yeah, and adding on to that sidebar, like when I was in college, my prom date, who was like my first real crush, died suddenly. And so it was like a lot. Like there's been a lot that's happened in my life. So um really struggling with finding work and like feeling like a loser and all of those things, like it really didn't help with the bubbling up anxiety and depression that was in me my whole life. And I remember when I met my now husband, there were a lot of tough times with me and my family. And he was an amazing support, and I remember one time I was like um texting my family, and I threw the phone across the room because I was so mad and so angry and so upset, and just so like it was like ripping me apart. And um it took still a while after that for me. It actually took until after my first son was born for me to go to therapy. And when I started doing that, I found a luckily I found a therapist. The first try I found was like amazing. She's still my therapist now. And um I immediately uh started letting go of stuff. And it was like, I actually just read the other day on an account that I really like, a doctor, an MD, who specifically talks about anxiety. He was saying that CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is really, really good at first for treating anxiety, but that the effect of it sort of wears off after a while, because anxiety is not really something that you can like talk through. It's really it's alarm trapped in your body, the sense of alarm trapped in your body. And a lot of times that comes from past memories. A lot of times it comes from past trauma. It can come from generational trauma. It can come from past life trauma. Like it's stuck in there. And cognitive behavioral therapy is great to get started. But then after a while, the effect kind of wears off because um, the alarm, like, sort of, it just sort of like becomes unaffected by the therapy. And that's kind of what happened to me. So I used to go every week. And now I only see my therapist like when I call her, when I try to set up an appointment, which is usually like once a quarter, once every couple months. Um, and that's because the effective therapy stopped working. Um, it's still helpful for me at times to talk through stuff with her, but for the most part, I need other things. And so I'm going to share 5 ways that I have continued to manage and heal my anxiety, ways that have really shifted how I respond in triggering situations, which for me are usually situations that are like around my family, as a mom, and at work. Not my business, but my job. Um, so Okay, so I'm going to share 5 ways that I have addressed that. I'm just going to start with number 1. Therapy and medication is number 1. So I am on medication, but I still haven't really found the right one for me. So it's working. it helps, but I don't think it really helps as much as I want it to, for me. So my goal is to like eventually get off of medication. There are four other ways. So that's number one, medication and therapy. I've tried several things. It's been all right. So, um, number two is learning about what each individual part of me wants and needs. And I've been able to do that through hypnosis and through parts integration. This is something that I'm trained to do for my clients. And so when you dive into parts integration in especially like a hypnotic state, you are able to, instead of being like, oh my God, my anxiety is like taking over, no, and like pushing it away and kind of like doing something else and telling it to like take a back seat, you're not the driver, whatever. Um, all of those things, eventually the anxiety is going to get so powerful that it's going to be like, no, girl, you got to step out of the way because I'm in charge here. So instead of kind of pushing it under the rug for as long as you can, you welcome it, you invite it, you take it out for breakfast, and you ask it what it needs. And this can be done through parts integration and uh, other other types of modalities that I practice with my clients. So essentially what you're doing is you're saying, this part of me is really anxious. And what does she actually want? What does she need? What is this anxious part of me wanting from me? Because I've been ignoring her and just managing her for so long, but I've never given her what she wants. So understanding what that part of you wants can be really done really well through hypnosis. And what we do is we sort of get into a relaxed state, and then you are asked questions and you respond through your relaxed state. So you're able to sort of like answer things that you normally wouldn't be able to answer because every day, all day, your conscious mind is like taking over, right? So you're not really listening. It's like when you dream, you can't control when you dream or if you remember what you dream. But a lot of times you can get a lot of wisdom from it, right? You can control when you want to go in through hypnotherapy because in that state, it's a very similar sort of mindset to dreaming. Um, but you are able to sort of be interviewed through your subconscious mind. So um, it can be really, really helpful because you know the answers that you are seeking. You already know them. Part of you knows them. You just need to give that part the microphone for a second. So that's what we do in hypnotherapy and in parts integration. There was one experience I had where I was getting really irritable and really frustrated as a mom. I have two kids, and I had one of my colleagues in my certification program walked me through this parts integration, and I realized that mom me and business me were really kind of at odds and fighting each other because mom me was always like, like, I want to be with my kids. But I'm really irritable because I can't be doing my business and I want to be able to like spend time on my business. And then my business me was like, yeah, but like it's really important to also spend time with. So there was a lot of like clashing that was happening, and it was causing this like irritability and frustration and anger. And I wasn't doing a good job at either because they were fighting so much. Um, so through this like hypnosis that I did with my colleague, I was able to sort of ask both sides, like, what do you want? Like, what is your desired outcome? What are you looking for? And my business side of me was like, well, I just want to leave a legacy. I want to have a legacy to leave, and I want to be able to have something that I'm remembered for, besides being a mom and being a wife. So that was what was important to the business side of me, the legacy. And when I asked the mom side of me, what do you want? What's your desired outcome? She was like, well, I want my children to be able to leave their legacy. They both wanted the same thing. I wanted to be able to leave a legacy through my children. I'm raising two boys. I feel like it's really important for them to be able to be compassionate young men, respectful of women, feminists. And I think that's really important. And it's like part of my role as a mom is to help them have that legacy. And so when I realized that the two sides of me both want the same thing, they both want legacy, I now am able to like fully be present in both of those um, times. So when I'm in business meg mode, I'm able to like focus on that and not think about the kids. And when I'm in mom mode, I'm able to focus on that and not think about the business. So it was like extremely life changing that happened. Um, so that's what parts integration and hypnotherapy has done for me. There's other things I've found out through hypnotherapy that have been like life changing as well, but we'll save those stories for another day. I want to move on to the next thing. The third way that I have really addressed and begun to heal my anxiety is through addressing generational trauma through timeline therapy. Um, Now, timeline therapy is something that I also can facilitate for my clients, and that is when you essentially you're again like it's a hypnotic state. Most of what I do with subconscious work, you are in a relaxed state of mind. Um, and you are able to sort of travel mentally to these different memories in your timeline. Um, and sometimes with clients, you also tend to travel to people in your ancestral lines memories. Um, that can be done. And so when I address trauma that has been brought through generation to generation to generation, or even in my past lives, which I believe, but I don't know if you believe, um, you are able to see the big picture. So that's the point, right? So timeline therapy, even if you just travel to your own memories, which I've done as well, you are able to see the big picture. And so for me, I'll tell a story about my when I was traveling to when I was about 8 years old. That's an estimate. I don't remember how old I was when this happened. I just remember the exact day and what it was like outside and what I looked like. I think maybe third grade based on what I looked like. So this was a memory that was really sticking out to me because it was coming up. What happened was I was coming to my therapy session, my hypnotherapy session, with a goal to figure out why I was struggling with um, not receiving a lot of um, engagement from my audience. And it was really like really hurting me that I wasn't hearing anything back from people. Like I felt like I was talking to a wall and it was really frustrating and sad and I hated it. And I wanted to talk to her about that. And so we traveled to a memory of mine where I was in my driveway. We were having a garage sale, and the bully that was down the street was giving me some, I don't know what, some nothing about nothing. I don't know. He was like bullying me about something. I don't even remember what he was making fun of me for, but I said something to him, which has been like an ongoing line that people quote all the time from me from when I was a kid. Um, and it'll probably make you laugh, but I was like, well, yeah, I know karate. And it was true because I did know karate. I was in karate for several years. I was in taekwondo and I was really good at it. And I did know karate. And so when I told him that, and I was like, I know karate, which was my way of standing up for myself, he didn't believe me. He was like, no, okay, yeah, whatever. And he totally did not believe me. And that chipped away at me in a drastic way, and I've been hanging on to it for so long. That feeling of I'm telling the truth and you still aren't listening. You still aren't understanding. You still don't believe me. You're still not on board with this, right? What is wrong with this situation? And so addressing that memory through the timeline therapy that I went through, I was able to, as an adult, be in that memory and ask him, why don't you believe me? which I never said because as a kid, you don't think to like ask, why are you doing this? You just sort of like try to react to it. And so when I said, like, why don't you believe me to him as an adult, he was like, well, no one believes me. So I was able to crack open this heavy weight that I had been carrying around for so long because I realized that he was a broken child too at the time. So it was really life changing. And now I'm not holding on to that memory anymore because I've healed it and I've moved on from it. And what that's allowed me to do is show up, continue to show up, be myself, not worry about what other people think or say because I believe me and I know that people are listening. So that changed everything. So that was the third way that I've really begun to heal my anxiety. And I don't say healed because it's not over yet, like I'm still going through a lot of it. The fourth way that I've done this is by clearing my energy field before and after being in triggering situations. This means that I am fully aware now because of all my training and of all my practice in these modalities. I'm aware that everyone has trauma. Everyone has trauma. And whether it's like big capital T trauma or trauma like memories that are stored in your body, that you don't even realize you had, everybody has trauma. And so when you are in a triggering situation with somebody else, you are essentially receiving their trauma. Like when they are reacting to you and you are reacting to them, reacting to you, and then it's like this back and forth, like we're triggering each other situation. And what I've learned from that is that I am able to not own somebody else's trauma. So if somebody is sort of like, triggered by something I say and they give me some comment or they DM me or whatever, or say I'm with like somebody that I am not really close with anymore and they say something to me, and there's like a moment where it's like, oh, we're clashing here. I'm able to realize that I don't need to own whatever trauma they are sort of like being triggered from, right? So it does create this clashing situation, but I'm able to not own it by releasing that energy. And it's something I learned. I forget where I learned this. I think I heard like a guest on another podcast say this, but what I do is I take a deep breath and I sort of use my hands to like pull up, and then I exhale and I say, this is not my trauma, or I say, this is not my energy. This is not my energy. And as I'm saying, this is not my energy and exhaling, I am pushing it away from me. So that's how I manage the situation. I will breathe in. This is not my energy. Push it away. And it really helps. I do have a footnote to add at the end of this conversation about energy and past lives and things that I've been mentioning kind of casually through this conversation. So, footnote will be coming later. That has been very helpful because I've started to realize that there are ways that I have taken other people's like drama energy and sort of like owned it myself when I really didn't need to. So, that's helped my anxiety because I'm like, oh, cool, like that's them, that's not me, right? So that's been really helpful. The fourth way that I have been able to go through this healing process for myself with my anxiety is by using effective tools for coping with in the moment anxiety. And one of my favorite ways to do this is through something called emotional acupressure. This is a term that we use in my certification program. It was coined by Neha Jha. She is an amazing human design and astrology expert, but she also is very she's an expert in decolonization of these practices. And the original term for emotional acupressure is emotional freedom technique, EFT, or tapping, as you've heard it before, if you've heard it before. But there are some elements of this practice that are a little bit like out of acceptance, and we're not down with them. So we renamed it, and we have changed the practice a little bit. And so emotional acupressure is tapping, but it's just a little bit refined. So dealing with in the moment anxiety with emotional acupressure is amazing because um, it can bring you in back into your body. So I've had a lot of anxiety around intrusive thoughts, especially as a mom. If you're a parent, you probably know what it's like to um, imagine the worst. And so when I have those moments, I am able to go through emotional acupressure and bring myself back into my body. And what's interesting about tapping is that you also repeat phrases. So you, instead of like ignoring the problem, you repeat the problem over and over again. And then you repeat like a truth that is, this is not really a problem, something that can turn you around to see the problem as not a problem. So it's a way for you to get in your body, but also get in your head, like more kind of like positive affirmations instead of anxiety thoughts, right? So it's very helpful. And that's something I do with my clients as well. Um, there are so many other modalities I've learned, so many things that can bring you back into your body, bring you into like a reset where you're able to sort of get back into away from the like trigger response, right? And that is what I can do with my clients, especially in breakthrough days, which is something that I'm offering. They are VIP breakthrough days, one day where you're able to go through several of these modalities with me to go through and heal aspects of your pent up trauma that you're holding on to. And as a trauma aware coach, I'm able to walk you through that compassionately, facilitate a safe space for you to be able to explore these memories and heal them. So that's how I have been dealing with this. And I'm going to add a footnote now, the footnote I mentioned before. I am a spiritual person. I believe in reincarnation. I believe in energy healing. And um, all of that is to say that you don't need to believe in those things in order for this to be beneficial to you. What I have found is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the memories you bring up are real or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you heal from them. So I don't know if you're a Harry Potter fan. You remember Dumbledore saying this to Harry in King's Cross Station in the last book when he's like, "Is this real? Am I imagining this? Is this in my head or is this real?" And Dumbledore's like, "Well, who's to say that if it's in your head, it's not real, right?" So I'm probably butchering that quote, but what I'm what I'm trying to say is even if it's totally made up, it doesn't matter because it's powerful and it's healing. So if you think you're going through like past life regression or something and you're like, how is this even real? I don't know. Maybe I didn't actually live through this experience. So what? So what? It doesn't matter. What matters is that that's giving you a lens to look at what you're dealing with now. That memory or imagination that you're going through is giving you a lens through which to look at your current trauma, your current issues. So it doesn't matter if it's real. That's what I see. So yeah, um, that's all I got for you today. I hope this was something that you felt like you could relate to. Please, please, please let me know if you listened and what you thought and how you feel after listening to this. I would love to know. And if you are interested at all in working with me, there are a couple ways you can do that. Right now, there's just two. There will be more in the future, but right now we've got breakthrough days, which are VIP days. They are a 5 hour experience, 4 or 5 hours, depending on what we're doing, where we go through hypnotherapy, we go through some of these modalities, and we are able to take like an issue that you're dealing with right now, like not making enough money or not liking promoting on social media or not feeling confident with your technology, all of those things that I love talking about. We were able to start there and go through these modalities to take you through them and heal and figure out what the root cause of that issue really is. Um, that's a breakthrough day, a VIP day. So you can get, you can sign up for one if you head to feelgrounded.co/breakthrough. This is my new website for all of my offers. My main website that I have right now is like kind of a hub for all of my content, but I've just been interested in kind of like simplifying, and because I have so much stuff there, I've been interested in simplifying and having another presence online where you can just go and quickly find what you need. And that's what feelgrounded.co is. So if you go to feelgrounded.co/breakthrough, you'll be able to find more about breakthrough days. The other way that you can join me is a free or very inexpensive community coaching and hypnotherapy session. I am now doing these monthly. They each will have a theme each month, and they are a suggested donation of $33. You can attend for free if you don't want to spend money or if you don't feel like you can't spend money. If you use the coupon code FREE PLEASE, you'll be able to check out and save your seat for the community sessions for free. This month's theme, and it is happening on March 24th at 12 p.m. Eastern. The theme is social media content confidence. So if you feel frustrated with the algorithm, with social media, with creating content, and you want to move past that and you want to explore where that's coming from, I'm hosting community coaching and hypnotherapy around that subject. It's going to be so much fun. Come to join us, and feel free to donate or feel free to attend for free if you want. You can get you can sign up for that at feelgrounded.co/upcoming. And there's going to be one of those every month. So whenever you're listening to this, there will be one coming up. So I'm very excited about those two things, and simplifying, making things very easy to navigate. And that's the goal of this time of my business. So thank you so much for listening and for being a part of this with me. And yeah, I will talk to you all next time.